Well, hello everyone, TheOntarioGardener here, back with another episode of Masterplan Tycoon. So the first two episodes we talked about Tier 0 buildings, Tier 1 buildings last episode, and now we're going to be getting into Tier 2 buildings. Again, you can kind of follow this here, but we're going for efficiency. Remember how we're doing it, we're anything that we're producing is going to go into a storage unit, and then if we need to pull that and go into something else, we do that, and then we always go into storage units. And the reason why is because you want this to be full all the time, or at least you have a buffer here. If you're running, wool straight into this, you may not have a buffer, because right now, as we're talking, everything is full. Well, this isn't full because we're not making anything here, but like everything is full right now because nothing's being made. The brick mission, nothing's being sent there. Even if we connect the bread, I'm not sure if the bread will go through or not. I guess it will until this fills up. And then this will probably stop, because remember, we're not really, yes, we're up to 10 already. There we go. We're not sending bread here unless we need to send bread here, because we're producing bread. We can go to it right now. We're producing bread here separately, which is helping us keep a stock of bricks, which is exactly what we want going into the master. And this is called the master. This is the main island, I guess you call it that. So what we got to do is we have to get to the next thing, which is going to be the pig farm and a butchery. So we have grain already coming in from the farm, so we don't need that. We have wet water coming in already, so all we need now are pig farms. We need grain and we need water. Now, how much do we need? We don't know. But what we could do is, let's look here. So the butchery requires one pig every 45 seconds, and here it gives us one pig every 30 seconds. So theoretically, so it takes 2 grain, 1 every 30 seconds. This needs 1 every 45 seconds. So if we have 3 of these, that's 1 every 15, or sorry, 1 every 45 seconds. And this is 1 every 15 seconds. And this is going to be 1 every 30. So if it's a 2 to 3 again, is kind of how you want to do it. But again, we don't really want to do it that way. We want to put it, we can actually do it, we can do it right here, because we're pulling everything from everywhere else. We can use this storage unit as well if we need to. We're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I'm not sure if here we're producing grain, or we're using grain and we're using water to produce pig, basically. So they're not actually, it's unlike the sheep farm, you're not actually growing the pigs, you're just kind of producing them, if that makes sense. We can put this right over here, because this is how we're doing all of our storage. Everything is going into a storage unit, because and the main reason why is because it gives you a buffer. So as we're doing things here, this will eventually fill up. We have pigs, right? Pigs are good. Now remember, it was a 3 to 2, a 2 to a 3. So since we have 5, we should do 1 more, and then we could actually, oh, that's kind of annoying that that's there, but it's fine. We can pull this down to this, and then that can feed that. And this one is going to stretch across. See, not quite. If I pull it like this, it might. 1 more space. You are kind of wasting a little bit of space here, but that's okay. 1 more maybe. And trying to get this to fit in here so we can have 6. That should fit. Oh my gosh, the water. Can we not go through that water? Yeah, okay. Not exactly how I wanted to do, but it's fine. So we have 6 here, so we should be able to support easily, well, geez, this is 2 per 3, so we can support a whole bunch of these. Do we need that many? No, we don't. We definitely do not. But we're going to put a bunch in anyway. We can start them, I guess, right about up here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, which is going to be perfect for us. And then we're going to put another storage unit, which we can probably put it back up to here, something like that. And these will create, and then we're going to put pig. And that's all we're doing is pig, pig, pig. But what we need here, remember, we're using bread, clothing, and beer. So we want to click on this. As long as our, our clothing, our bread, and our beer, as long as these numbers are staying static as things are being produced, that means we're fine. If it's not staying static, or static meaning it's not changing, if this keeps going down, what we're drawing from, which is bread, clothing, and beer, it's obviously going to go down, and it's going to go right back up, down, up, down, up. But you want this number to stay around 75. You don't want this to go down. Grain right now, it looks like we're having trouble with grain. So let's go over here, see what is the grain problem. Well, the grain problem is we just don't have enough. That's the biggest problem here. Plenty with trees, but not enough with grain. So how can we help with that? Well, we could do it by doing something like this, by putting a farm in, let's see, putting one in between here, putting one here, and putting one here, and then putting one up here. And basically all we're doing with the farms is we're just going to have these just do planting, no gathering, because the gathering isn't going to go anywhere. So by planting, excuse me, by planting, what it's going to do is it's going to plant these radiuses along here. So that should mean we have enough grain coming in. Now we have some here that are planting. This one's doing both. This one's doing planting. This one's just be doing gathering. This one's doing planting. This one's going to be doing gathering. And then this one up here should be doing gathering, planting, gathering. And this one should just be doing, this one here is doing gathering only. This one should just be doing planting, or sorry, it should be doing planting, excuse me. There we go. So you now see how everything's filling in, and this is exactly what we want to have done here. We want these ones aren't going to get used, which is fine. As long as these are used, the grain will keep pumping. What's the problem here? What are we waiting on? Are we waiting on grain? We shouldn't be waiting on anything here, really. It says no resources, which doesn't really... Oh, because we're planting. That's why. There's nothing for them to plant. So these odd number ones, in a sense, they're eventually going to get backed up. What we could do there, though, is we could actually turn gathering back on for all of these, because we have enough coming in. And again, this is what I said about having like a modular design, which we might have had to change this in the beginning anyway. What's the problem here? We're waiting on grain coming in. We should start getting more grain. Now, if we're really running out of grain, we could start and do more of this, and we can keep going from there. But for now, we can go into our storage right here. Everything now, I mean, grain's at 0, but bread is full. Right? And that's what we want. The pig farm is going into pig. Pig is going to be here. Pig, we're going up. Sausages are full. So again, things go, they will fill up. Again, do we need this amount? No. If we didn't want this amount, guess what? We could turn some of these off. But remember, the maintenance does not tick down until it's able to be used. See how it's waiting? The maintenance will not go. So it's still fine to do this. So we have sausages going. We have the pigs going. Now we want to build a pillar for some reason. They want us to build a pillar, which I believe is just this. Just to kind of follow the story along. What this does is basically, it's a go-between two different buildings. If you need to, like, see how these really curve up here. If you don't want to have it as much of a curve, or these are being stretched somewhere, like it's not reaching over here, you could have a storage unit here, you could have this here, you could filter these in. But the thing is, they work the same as these do, is you can only have one item per line per time, in a sense. So use your pillars where you need to. They're very cheap, and they are kind of good. So we're moving right along. Pillars, you don't build them, like you don't make them, in a sense. We have sausages being made right now. We need moonshine is the next one, and then it also wants us to do cotton for some reason. So we can kind of, well, cotton's going to be for your overalls here. We also are going to have to do moonshine. We're also going to have to do sausages, but we can start here with cotton plantations, and this is going to go back to the same thing, kind of as the sheep farm is you want to do this in an area where we can put a bunch of them. We have a steel mission in, and then we can do our farms probably up here, I would think. Let's see, we do 1, 2, 3. What we should actually do, now I'm thinking about this, is I think we should spread these out just a touch more. I'm just going to get rid of these real quick, because if we spread this one out to here, this one here is just going to be doing gathering. This one's going to be doing planting. It's going to plant this whole area, and you want this one to just touch. This one's just going to be doing gathering, right? So this, I think, makes more sense, and you want this just to touch like that. And then we want one more probably, and that's going to go right about here. So we have gathering, planting, gathering, and this one's going to be a plant. Why are we going so slow? This one's going to be planting only, and this one here is going to be doing gathering only, like that. So it's going to take a while for these things to create, but they should keep up. And remember, if they don't keep up, all we got to do is add more. That's all we got to do is add more. And one cool way to add more really is just kind of go like this. So it's figuring out this whole area, right? So that may be helpful to us, but I think we'll be okay here. So what we'll do is we'll put a storage unit in right about here, and we'll connect everything up, because this is the way you want to do it. Now again, you can make these closer, you can make them farther apart, you can do it however you really want to, but as long as you're producing as long as you're planting as much as you're producing, you're fine. The grain is doing okay now, which is a good thing. Let's see when this ticks over, what is it going to do? Boom, it goes right back into the next one. We actually have a buffer of grain now, which is great. So now we got to get into the cotton mill. So a cotton plantation is 1 every 30 seconds. This needs 1 every 30 seconds. So theoretically, you want to do as many as you have here, but we're not having that many. We're only having, we're only having 3. So what we'll do is we'll tuck this in over here. 1, 2, 3. We can do 4. I think 4 is fine. And we can plug 1 here, and we can plug, again, you can the beauty behind having this kind of modular design, I keep calling it modular because you can put it wherever, is you can literally put it wherever you want. It doesn't have to go in line. And again, when these run out of cotton, they'll stop. That's all it'll do. But at least this way we have cotton running in. So the next thing we got to do is work on our felt workshop, which is coming from the sheep farm. Now the sheep farm, is that what I put here by accident? No, we have sheep farm. Do we have sheep farms being made somewhere else? We do. So we technically don't have to get any sheep farms. But we should look. How are we on wool? Wool is going to be tier 0. Wool, we have tons of wool. So we're good to go. We don't actually have to do any more sheep farms. We can go right into felt workshops. We have sewing workshops, which make clothing, but we have felt workshops will end up making furs. So what we could probably do is, again, we could actually use this right here. We can put this right here in line with this. 1, 2, 3. And then do we need 4? We don't know yet. But the point of it is it doesn't matter if we need 4 or not. You can place them. The resources will get used. Then they'll get full. And then they'll just sit in here. Let's put this right out. Like this looks good to me. And yeah, so instead of like running the fells into the fur factory, is we'll do the factory somewhere totally different. Which, I mean, we might as well just do it literally right where we're at here. So felt workshop is 1 wool. We just need 1 and 1. So it gives you 2 every 30 seconds. This gives you 2 every 30 seconds. This needs 1 every 45 seconds. So if we have 3 of these per 1 of these, really. So I don't know how many we could actually fit in here. Let's see. I don't know if that might be too close to it. Let's just start here. 1, 2, 3. Let's just do 4. 4 is a good place to start. We can dump another storage unit over here if it'll fit, and should fit there. All right, we have felt and we have calico. Calico is a type of cat, or a breed of cat, or a color of cat, I guess. And there we go. And we're going to dump overalls out like this. And again, these will produce and then they'll fill up. And the beauty behind this is, you know what, even if there's no room to make more of these here, we can put them literally anywhere else and it'd be perfectly fine for us. All right, so we're moving along here. What is the problem here? Are we still producing cotton? Let's see. We should be producing plenty. Yeah, we're not backed up. This is a question mark because of it's not gathering. It's just planting. So that's why sometimes there's a question mark there because it's like, oh, there's nothing to plant. Well, it has to just plant it because the question marks sometimes are a bit kind of iffy. Like we have plenty of, it just says no resources available, which doesn't make any sense. Oh, sorry, it makes sense because of this. Excuse me. Which, while looking at this, you know, we might actually want to supplement these. And again, with the modular design, as I keep saying, it's very easy to, this one actually is fine at the bottom. I'm not going to mess with this one at all. We'll have this one here doing some more planting. We can actually have this one, have this one just doing planting. And have this one here just doing planting just doing planting, not gathering, excuse me. Planting only, and then what we could do in the middle one, for some reason these seem a bit kind of off, so what we could do is this one's just, oh, that's why. Because this one's gathering too. We just want this one to plant, and this one's going to be gathering. There we go, perfectly perfect. Good, this works out just fine. So the next thing we got to do is we got to go down the line. Now, we're not doing moonshine yet. Well, now we are, we are doing moonshine. So potato farms are similar to the sugarcane. We're going to do these in a location. They need bread, beer, and clothing. So let's just check real quick. How's our bread, beer? Bread, beer is perfect. Clothing is going to be here. Bread, beer, and clothing. Bread, beer, where is clothing at? Clothing. So even though these are red, that's fine because we still have a decent amount. They're going back up, going down, going back up. This is what you need to monitor, right? We're filled up again. These will fill up. And again, if they end up not filling up, all you got to do is go back to figure out where the bottleneck is and either add on to it where it is, or go back and like here with green, we're struggling with green again. So I think what we might have to do is actually, I think I'm just going to move these closer while I'm here. Why not? Is we might have to redo the grain farms a bit. And you know, is there any harm in doing that? Of course not. Because that's the whole point of this, is you want to make this where you're continually gathering things. Like even the trees are getting a little bit sparse, but things will start filling up again, right? And that's kind of the beauty behind it. So maybe we'll do this one. We'll have this one. Oh, it says storage node's full anyway, so we're perfectly fine with that. Here they're planting as they plant, and as things get built up, also buildings take lumber, or they take planks and stone, and as you keep going up, they take more and more, 14, 15, 16 bricks as well. So you got to be careful when it comes to that type of thing. So as far as this is going to be the steel mission, so what I want to do first off is I just want to dump one of these right here. And I actually want to dump another one right on this side. We can do it probably as close as we can, because we're going to eventually have to get into doing this, and we're going to have to send things to this, and we'll get things out of this as well. But there's no more missions, I don't think, on this map, is there? We have the limestone mission, but again, we have tons and tons of space over here. But we might as well use the space that we have, and we can always add more modules, in a sense. We can add another set of this somewhere else. As soon, I mean, we could literally just take this, put it here, put another one of these there, and just drag. Because remember, storage units connect to each other no matter what. Look, everything's back filled up again. That's exactly what we're looking for here. So we want us to do potato farms and then get into sugarcane farms. So they require what they require. Let's go back into here. Potato farms need what? They need bread, beer, and clothing. And then sure, they both basically need the same amount of things. They produce the same amount of things. The sugarcane costs more to build. Actually, they cost bricks, so they do cost more to build. So we'll do the potato farms first. We're not doing anything with wood up here. So what we could do here is, this is just building things. So what we could do is we could do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and kind of fit 7 we can. So we'll have to see once if this is a good ratio here, if it will work for us. I mean, another thing you could easily try is you could try, I'm going to pull these back here a little bit, is you could actually try having both of them plant and harvest and just see what happens. Like, that's why the beauty of this game is you can try different things and just see if you're lacking. If we come back in an hour from now or in next episode and this is wall to wall green, that means we're planting way too many. Contrary to this, now we are planting a lot, but we're not actually using a lot. We could probably sneak, well, we couldn't sneak anything in here. The trees are doing perfectly fine. It's funny that the ones up here seem to be doing a lot worse. Why? I don't know. It could just be how things get sucked into this. But I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. Excuse me, it doesn't really matter. All right, so we got the potato farm up and running. This is probably going to be full anytime soon. Almost full already. The sugar cane is the next thing, and it's going to run. They're going to run it the same way. We have 7 here. I'd like to be able to put. Could I fit 7 here? I don't think I could. Yeesh, that might be a little tight. So what we can actually do is we can put it. Let's just put it up here. Why not? There's no reason not to put it up here. So we could do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And we can just see what happens. If it works out, then it works out. If it doesn't, well, then guess what? Then it doesn't. But we won't know until we do it. The next thing is going to be moonshine. And then what I'm going to do with the sugarcane, just like I did the potato, I'm going to leave it on gathering and planting and just see what type of result we get. Is it going to be a good result? I don't know. Is it going to be bad? Probably not. So moonshine is up next, and it basically takes 1 of each to give you 3 moonshine. So, I mean, we're producing, we could probably do 5 of these, I think would be sufficient. Probably more than sufficient. And we could probably even do them literally right, I don't want to do them right there. I want to do them, where could I fit? I can't go over that. We can do them here. Let's do it here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and not quite. So, actually, I'll just build it, and then I'll move this down 1, down 1, down 1, down 1, and this should fit in here. If it doesn't, we'll just move everything over one set of spaces. There we go. What we can actually do is, can we pull from this? We can, because it doesn't matter. You can hook up as many things as you want to a storage unit. It doesn't matter at all. Like, it literally doesn't change anything at all, except when you don't hook them up. And there we go. Now what we want to do as well is just basically put another storage unit here. I like to put the storage units in the middle, somewhat in the middle if I can, just so that the lines are, not that they're equal, but they're not like one of them's going all the way up here and one's going over to the bottom. Makes it a little bit closer together. Look at that. Now we got the moonshine. So now we have to get things going to the brick mission. But what I want to do is I want to let these fill up a little bit, which, as you can see, like, this is the key here, right? Moonshine's being filled very rapidly. Potatoes are not going down. Sugarcane's not going down. So this means we have, as of right now, we have a good ratio of these. And that's exactly what we want. We want to have a good ratio, because what we have to do to the steel mission is our next kind of objective here, is we have to actually have to send things to the steel. You may say, well, why don't we make overalls? Why don't we make more things? No, we don't need to. See how this is going perfectly well here? We're doing good up here. We're doing good. The grain's doing a bit better. I think also one thing is with the grain, putting it so close, like with this, I think that might be harming us slightly. So this may be something that we want to change in the future, or put 2 of these here, just because of anywhere there's a space being used or not being used, and it's like doing like it just makes it really, really messy. So in the future, when we make more of these, we can do it. This is fine because it has a bigger radius. The other ones obviously have smaller radiuses, but it looks like it's doing just fine to me as well. So what we got to do is send everything to the steel mission, but that's pretty easy because look, all we got to do is do this. Boom, boom, boom. And you see how we're not sending bread to the brick mission, because we want to send bread here. And as soon as we get into the steel mission, just like this, we'll see what we have. So we could easily, excuse me, guys. Basically, brick, bread, and beer and clothes are what resources are needed for things like steel beams. So iron mine, sausages, moonstone overalls. So this actually says sausages, which is interesting because we don't actually have sausages here, do we? We do not. Coal requires sausage, moonstone overalls. We don't actually have sausages here. I keep saying that. Here we need brick coming in. We don't have the brick yet because this hasn't run. So the first thing we got to do is bring everything in to a storage unit, because that way it'll keep producing. But what we also want to do is we almost don't want to keep feeding this from our master location. I mean, no, that's what you're kind of supposed to do, but it's not, in my opinion, the greatest thing to do. We have to get wood, we have to get quarries up and running, so we're going to do that right about now, because we have to go back, because we have no building blocks. So the first thing we want to do, obviously, is do lumber camps, and we have to start off small with this. So I think I'll actually just do the lumber camps back here. We're not going to need, I really don't want to do it there either. We can do it, I want to do it down here. Do it here. Let's do it here. Keep it away from this, but we'll do it right here. We'll just do one. We'll spread these out a little bit. Oops, I'm actually out of, I might not be able to do this one, because remember, we got to get the planks up and running. We can do a sawmill. So I still want to jump everything into a thing, but what we got to do, we have to do a little bit of, this is like the basic preliminary stuff you got to do first, because you got to be able to afford the planks to be able to build anything else. And right now we can't build any storages, so I might actually have to get rid of this one, to be honest with you, and then we can build a storage unit. Oh, we can do it like this. This is perfectly fine. So what we want to do is we want to find an area like this and just put 1, 2, oh, we can only do one at a time, I guess. We have to wait till we get some more stone in. I might have went a little bit too far with this, but we should have more stone coming in. Oh yeah, we have more stone coming in right about now. This takes what? This actually takes planks. So what we got to do is we got to dump things, and this takes planks as well. Where do we have our planks at? Are we not making planks anywhere? Oh, maybe we have to do it like this. Come in here, recycle. How many planks? We have 2 planks. Interesting. Maybe we actually have to just ditch this for right now. Yep, that's how we have to do it, which again is kind of annoying, but this is how you kind of start all these off. There's not a quicker way to do it because you can only bring certain resources in. So let's let this fill up. As this fills up, we can kind of go back and put this storage unit back. It doesn't change anything because everything is shared, remember? So we should have, yep, all this stuff is still in here. It's kind of like, well, they're shared, I guess is how you want to say it, because there's some here as well. This is going to fill up. This is perfectly fine. We're going to let this run right here just for now. We'll let it run, and then because we need planks and stuff to build other things. That's kind of where we're at with this. We also have to do our quarries. So let's go up here and do our quarries. We can do, I might actually have to delete that one other thing that I had to, the other storage unit, because we need the stone for that. And we have no stone because I keep taking the stone from this one. But again, does it matter? No, it does not. We can put this probably here. Luckily, these things don't, the whatever you want to call them, they don't cost any resources to drag them. All right, now we can get back into business. It's always tricky in the beginning because it's like you have to kind of baby the stuff and then you can go and expand quickly. So now we can start expanding. And it doesn't matter because all these things are still stored. Like they're still stored in the, I don't know, the mission thing. You can't really delete them in a sense. But we're moving right along. But now we got to go back. We got to make sausages. We got to make moonshine. We got to make overalls again. So if you remember how we did that in the beginning, we have to do that again. Now, the only thing we have to do here, we have to have coal, steel, and steel beams out. That's all we got to do in this mission, but we have all this space to work with, right? So all of our preliminary buildings, we're going to do right here. But But what that does mean is we got to do things like water, and we got to do things like farms. We got to set all that up. And that's not very exciting to look at. So what I'm going to do, guys, we're actually going to end the episode here. Off camera, I'm going to set all this stuff up because we did all this already, right? There's no reason to show this again. We want to get into doing what? Well, we want to get into doing steel beams because that's what we're here for. So next episode, we'll tackle the tier 2 steel beams, which are a bit more because things take a lot longer. You got to find the coal. You got to find this. So off camera, I'll set all this up here. When we come back next episode, we'll tackle the steel and the steel beams and in coal because we have to send all that out. And that's going to be a big pain in the butt, especially because of this here. But guess what? We use our strategy of using what? Of using storage units because they are universal. They connect to anything. So all we got to do is this. That's all we got to do. And as long as we're feeding the steel beams, and coal into this, we're fine. But look at all the space we have. This, by the way, is iron. This is coal. Here's your trees, and then you have a little bit of water, and then this is your stone. So we don't have a lot of coal. So we got to try to find as much coal as possible. Use those pillars potentially to kind of wedge things, to try to get one in, to get things out of here. You might be using some pillars as well. And then, yeah, because we have a lot of iron, a lot of stone, and things you can't really move this, which is what the pillars are used for, kind of sneaking through this type of thing, because we have to kind of sneak things around as best we can, but we can also get rid of these trees by placing buildings there. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me. If you enjoyed the episode, please consider leaving me a like as well as a comment. Would be much appreciated. And if you are enjoying this series, hit that subscribe button. Tick the bell notification icon so you don't miss any future episodes. Also in the description below, the Ontario Outdoorsman, if you could be so kind to click on that link and hit me a subscribe. Trying to hit 100 subscribers by the end of the month and 1,000 by the end of the year. It'd be much appreciated, and I'll catch you guys next time.